This is our project for the job analysis, and the position is the Director of Electrical Vehicle Charging Infrastructure for the California EPA. My name is Dahlia.
My name is Brooke.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Carolina.
And I'm Ruben.
Okay, let's get started. The California Environmental Protection Agency, aka the Cal EPA, was created in 1991 to restore, protect, and enhance the environment. They achieve their goals by creating laws that mandate clean air, water, soil, pesticide usage, and waste. The Air Resource Board was also enacted, which is a subdepartment of the California EPA, was enacted to protect and warn California of the effects of air pollution. They fight for clean air in all shapes and forms, and their mission is to ensure public health, welfare, and ecological resources by effectively reducing air pollutants while recognizing and considering the effects on the economy. A few of their achievements and responsibilities is that they set the state's quality standard of air. They identify harmful or deadly pollutants. They measure the progress of our state's goal in having clean air. They verify that automobiles are at emission compliance. They discover causes of pollution. They find ways to cure the pollution. They study pollution, and their goal is to lead California to cleaner air and reduce the progress of climate change. They have accomplished that cars are now 99% cleaner than 1970. There are less people in the hospital due to respiratory problems. And due to research, they have made technological advances that make zero-emission cars and cleaner fuels. In the California EPA, the organizational structure goes by the governor at the top, who is the governor of California, and then under the governor is the Cal EPA Office of the Secretary. And under the Office of the Secretary is 6 boards, which is the Air Resource Board, the Department of Resources, Recycling and Recovery, the Department of Pesticide and Regulation, the Department of Toxic Substance and Control, the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, and then the State Water Control Board. And underneath all these boards, they contain board staff, which are from scientists to mathematicians and whatever who can help with the board and their goals.
So a little bit more about the job position. The Director of Electric Vehicle Charging Infrastructure reports to the Air Resources Board of the California Environmental Protection Agency. And some of the job duties of this position include directing and guiding the EV Charging Infrastructure Division to ensure activities are aligned with the goals and requirements of California's clean energy mandate, to lead efforts to align the organization's sustainable development goals with division goals, to work closely with contractors to ensure EV charging infrastructure complies with state code requirements, and to monitor car manufacturer compliance to ZEV requirements and regulate manufacturing needs. Along with our division's goals, our organization has identified several sustainable development goals, or SDGs, we feel we can contribute the greatest impact. The first sustainable development goal that we adopted was climate action, which is SDG number 13. And the transportation sector is the largest contributor to the release of greenhouse gas emissions, which leads to the increase of global warming. So our division's goals is to help reduce harmful emissions through the regulation of gas engine vehicles and to aid California's residents in their transition to zero-emission vehicles by 2035. So not only will this help reduce the global warming rate, but also improve the air quality of California. SDG number 7, the affordable and clean energy goal, is essential in our efforts to effectively transition California residents to zero-emission vehicles. And it is important that zero-emission vehicles are affordable and attainable to all California residents. So our agency works closely with car manufacturers to monitor their compliance to zero-emission vehicle requirements and to regulate manufacturing needs. And we also are tasked with coordinating and implementing commercial charging station structures statewide to increase charging accessibility. The organizational structure of the Air Resources Board of Cal EPA consists of several board members of different professions that contribute a variety of skills and knowledge. And together they review progress and discuss new methods to solving California's pollution issue. The Director of EV Charging Infrastructure for Cal EPA along with other project directors from divisions within the department, do their part to successfully implement and oversee the approaches the Air Resources Board undertake. So overall, their main responsibility is to carry out the prescribed approaches of the Air Resources Board. More specifically, though, the position of Director of EV Charging Infrastructure was created on account of California's new clean energy mandate, and they are responsible for initiating and maintaining department goals as well as adopted sustainable development goals.
Okay, so for their tasks and competencies, they have to work within budgets. They got to be able to work within time constraints, work with team members to achieve goals. They have to have knowledge of our SDGs, knowledge of the state's air quality standards, knowledge of how to measure the air pollution goals, and the ability to identify harmful air pollution. So how they are going to carry these out, they're going to develop strategies to ensure that the zero emissions push is successful by working with the other departments within the Air Resources Board. They got to meet with accountants to find funding in order to install the charging stations around the state. They're going to oversee the development of these charging stations across the state by overseeing the hiring of the employees and the contractors involved. They also have to develop the plans for installing charging stations. They have to meet with other departments to set air quality standards that said plans will be based on.
Now for task competency linkages, the individual who takes this position will be responsible for completing many tasks which require a very specific set of skills. Here are some of the tasks along with the competency required in order to meet the mission objective. For example, in order to understand the real environmental impact of combustion vehicles, this person must know how to use the US Air Quality Index, aka the AQI, which is a US standard for measuring the amount of pollution in the air. Now, this metric ranges from 0 to 500, and the higher the numbers represented, the greater the health risk. They must also be able to record this data and compare it over a long period of time, preferably on Excel, in order to check the progress and to give the public an easy way to see this data. Using the data they have created, they must also be able to create ambitious yet actionable regulations when needed. When choosing where to build charging stations, this person must have a basic understanding of geographical maps and must be able to use this AQI data to choose the optimal locations to build them first. A full charging infrastructure cannot be built overnight in California, so it's important to prioritize the cities with the worst air pollution.
So how are we going to recruit for this job position? One way we do that is to recruit internally. And one specific reason to recruit internally is due to speed and cost. Putting a potential employee through the hiring process is a very expensive process, having to do with background checks and assessments that will cost the company a lot of money. Therefore, if the candidate is already in the company and already has had a background check done on them, and the cost of promoting them to this new position would be much less than that if you were to hire externally. Another plus is the knowledge that both parties have. If we are able to recruit internally, the employee already knows how the business functions and only has to adapt to the new position, not the entire culture of the company. The company also already knows the employee's work ethic and other aspects. So if anything, hiring internally should be far more effective. Internal recruitment also is a good practice in and of itself. So in our class, we have learned that many people change jobs every year. So knowing that hiring someone externally is kind of a gamble because the company doesn't know if the recruit will be there in a year. And if you look at the first image, it states that external hires were 61% more likely to be fired from their new job, while internal hires were promoted faster and had lower rates of involuntary and voluntary turnover. Another way for recruitment is external recruitment. Hiring externally is still a viable option, especially when the current employees are not capable of filling the position that is available. So if current employees lack the knowledge and the skills for the position, external hiring is a must. External hiring can bring in fresh and new ideas and perspectives. And that might be what companies are looking for. However, in our case, in the case for this position, hiring internally is the more desirable option. And social media recruitment. There are many benefits in utilizing social media as a recruitment tool. If you look at the second image, it shows that recruiters look at LinkedIn and Facebook. So 80% of employers are using Facebook as a way to see job applicants, and 55% of employers are looking at LinkedIn. An employer can pay for having their ads regarding recruitment on social media, since many people are on social media already, and if an ad pops up regarding a position open, many people will see this ad, and this may contribute to an increase in the application pool. A disadvantage of using social media as a recruitment tool is it could be unreliable or inconsistent, and people can lie on the profiles. So it's not necessarily a great way to recruit from. Also, not everyone is on social media. So maybe it's using social media as a tactic for your recruitment is not the greatest idea. And especially for this position, I can't see this company recruiting via social media because it is such a high managerial position that needs someone who specializes in this particular field. So using social media, LinkedIn excluded, to recruit from does not sound like a very good tool to recruit. And our interviews, there are two possible ways that you could possibly interview for this position. If you were to recruit internally, all you really need is a single interview because you already know this employee and they already know the expectations of the company. And if you recruit externally, you would need a traditional interview, would be within the best interest of the company, and also a situational interview, considering that this is a managerial position and the company would like to know the thought process of their recruits in different workplace situations. And here are our references. Thank you.